Oh, hello, friends. It's King Arthur Pendragon 5.2, the Great Pendragon Campaign, episode 26. It's me, your number one toxic negativity streamer. Sorry, I'm barely hanging in there. It's just my body is in shock over what happened in the last episode. It almost feels like it just happened.
Did you just review your notes and go, oh, that's right?
Despite the fact it's been weeks. I like how you think I haven't been working on it for weeks. That it hasn't been foremost in my mind. We had some good times, and there are songs to remind us of those good times. We had some meetings with Bishop Roger. We had the pillowcase of the White Heart that was given to the Countess. We didn't hunt a demon boar. We hired on a hunter. What was his name again? I feel like it was I did a meme or something that referred to, his name had to be very significant. But you hired on a hunter for a few years. Kendric. Gimli, right. The son of Gloin. Not a knight, just a man. Just a regular man. Just an absolute poacher. We introduced the new system of hunts having a series of events. Kyned absolutely dipped out on someone saying there was a conspiracy against him. And right there at the end of the episode, as an amuse-bouche, just a little after, well, not the opposite of an amuse-bouche, the aftertaste to calm us down, Gwgan went for a nice meeting where he promised to do no harm and peace bonded himself in a nunnery in the abbot where the Lady Harfin was staying, and then he brutally executed her and proudly presented his indulgence to get out of jail free to the bishop, who he summoned in a truly insane
Would you call it a digestive?
A digestive, yes, sure. Aperitif? Is that what the dessert?
Aperitif means open to start.
Yeah. Oh,
digestif is at the end.
Is amuse-bouche just from a different language then? I thought amuse-bouche was the one you get at the beginning. Aperitif and digestive must be French.
Yeah, well, amuse-bouche is also French, but it's the chef is just playing around.
Amuse-bouche is food, whereas an aperitif and a digestive are drinks.
All I could say is it's very funny that chef has come up because it will be a center point of today's episode, I should think. Was it last episode that we met with Cedric and Cynric? Or was that 2 episodes ago? It has to have been 2 episodes ago.
No, I think that was last.
Was it last episode? Oh my gosh, so much happened in that episode. Look, I was messing around at the beginning of the episode to act like I was out of energy or depressed. I am genuinely concerned that what James did is going to be the high point of the show, and we're never going to reach that energy ever again.
I am preparing to take it to a new level today, in fact.
Oh, Jesus. Let me get some Xanax.
A new level for your higher power, the Lord? Praise the sun is all I have to say.
It depends how a certain conversation goes. You might find that today gets very uncomfortable.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I should just mark this episode down for no monetization. Just
no. It's not going to be. It's not like that. I'm not gonna neo buzzard you. It's going to be you.
I wouldn't call that neo buzzarding. You've done it to me on this show and on Imperial Maledictum. Don't try to rename it. This is Jamesing. This is how you know that my energy at the beginning of the show is fake.
Hey, I've just come from a kid's soccer game where like grown adults are like yelling out instructions at like 9-year-olds running around in the rain.
I feel like what they need to do look, I don't know what school looks like anymore. I understand that like kids have tablets in class now. And you can take the tablets home in some school districts to do homework on. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. But with the ubiquity of tablet technology, cameras, and drones, I feel like soccer games and football games would be better if we just had like a top-down, RTS style camera of the soccer field for the adults, so that they could be like, okay, number 32, I need you to cut this way. Like they're drawing on the tablet. It doesn't do anything. The data isn't sent anywhere, but they can feel better, like, pretending they're zerg rushing.
It doesn't matter that this is a game of kids who are all just playing run at the ball. There are still parents yelling out like, ref, offside! Number 3's offside!
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The tablets would be a time trap so that the people who would be yelling are instead playing with the tablet. And then there'd be an option to send it to the coach, but it just sends it to like a disposable email somewhere. And the coach ignores it. And then at the end of the game, he goes, thanks for your contributions today, gang. Couldn't have done it without you. You're the real coaches here. Wink. Sorry, I've been watching The Boys, and that was a real Homelander move, so... I got it on my mind. Anyway, so with all the joking aside, Gwgan, you find yourself summoned before the Countess.
Well, I was going to say I was going to ride straight from the Abbey to Sarum.
Good.
That's it. I'm trying to. Okay, I mean, look, if I literally ride on a horse as fast as I can go, I will get there before the news gets there.
I love the idea that you get there like 10 minutes before the news gets there, but that's how long it takes for the Countess to get dressed and come down to see you.
Yeah. All right.
She receives you in...
sorry, is this the night of
the murder, yes.
The Yule Festival?
Yeah. No, it's not the night of the Yule Festival, I think.
Okay.
The Winterfest hasn't started yet.
Okay, I couldn't remember anymore when we...
It was just a day. It was just a day as winter was coming upon.
It was just a day in...
Just a regular day.
It was
in
Tuesday.
December.
It was for Lady Harfin, it wasn't a Tuesday. It was the last day of the rest of her life. For Gwgan, it was Tuesday. For Kyned, it would mark a dark turn.
Hey, cook a man a meal, keep him warm for a night, set a man on fire, keep him warm for the rest of his life.
We'll see. We shall see, friends. Okay. She receives you in a private chamber, but in so do, like, away from the Great Hall, away from anybody who's sleeping, something like an antechamber attached to her quarters, but there is definitely a honor guard present for this meeting, and they are armed. She is pretending to be casual with you.
Yeah. I would have, if necessary, surrendered my sword as well. If
going into the Lord's Hall? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need permission to bear a weapon before your liege.
My lady, I have come to confess to a most egregious crime. I have murdered a woman under bond of peace in the house of God.
This behavior is shocking, Sir Gwgan. Do you offer any explanation for this sin?
There is no explanation that I can give in mixed presence. There are words I would share with you privately, but in a gathering such as this, I can only stand in front of my actions.
Did Sir Kyned ask you to do this?
No.
What has driven you to these lengths? You cannot account for your actions. Can you at least account for your reasoning?
I did it to protect this realm, to protect Sarum, to protect Salisbury and the people within it. That is not my primary reason, but it is the most important reason to these people here.
You are aware that this act is extremely dishonorable, and that the chivalry of my knights will be called into question. You are among the most glorious and powerful of my knights.
There's an order of things that are important to me. God, first off. My service to you and your son, second to that. my family third. My honor sits below that. And unfortunately, in this case, I had to give up my honor for the betterment of God, of you and your son.
I cannot stop what is coming for you.
Nor would I ask you to.
The repercussions of your actions will be known throughout all of the land of England and among our Saxon allies, if you would call them that.
Just, I need you to know that while there is no proof to this, I am certain that I've just avoided another bloody war that would have taken more lives and caused more pain to Sarum. And if a loss of my honor, even if the loss of my station is the cost of that, then I would do that for you and for Robert.
I appreciate that you believe that. It is late, and I do not have time to consult any scholars, but it is my belief and recollection that only the High King can judge for such capital crimes. And as such time, your sentence will not be decided upon until there is a High King once again. You are free to go, Sir Gwgan. You may regret what you have done here one day.
May I remain in Sarum at least overnight before returning to my family? I've ridden long to be here.
Boy,
tonight.
I think you're going to have to roll courtly on this one.
Okay.
That is a huge ask to murder a woman in a nunnery and then be like, may I have the protection of your house?
Or even just in Sarum.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is a pretty good rebuke, though, would be to throw you out. You think you could just come up in this house and roll a 1? Is that what you think? You think you can escape punishment for your actions by rolling the best possible number that isn't a critical? Sure. Sure. She sighs deeply and says, oh, I am forgetting, but maybe some of you Pendragon heads out here remember. The most honorable commander on a battlefield, most glorious, takes the center position.
No.
No?
They
take the left.
Where's the second most, since Gwgan is the second most glorious?
The center.
The center. If you are to be the center of the armies of Salisbury, then we cannot turn you out from Sarum in the night in your time of need. One of these men will see you to a chamber that matches your station. You are still welcome in my house until such time as my liege has judged you.
My lady, if you wish to know more of my actions, I would confess more to you in private, but I understand if you have received enough. Thank you for your hospitality.
Let us have that conversation on a different day. I have troubles enough as it is. I will see you again at the Yule, and we will speak then in private. Is that sufficient for you?
Yeah, I stand at your pleasure.
She gestures to one of the household knights who gives a hearty salute and then gestures for you to go ahead of him.
Yeah, I'll go out and sleep in the stables.
They're not sending you to the stables. She said she's going to send you to a room that matches your station.
Isn't one the worst result of success? Aren't you trying to roll as high as possible without rolling over?
That is true,
right?
but if you're looking for an ensured success, a 1 is success on anything but the worst possible skill rating that you could have.
Yeah.
Even
I believe
that,
the only way to
a crit.
fail on a 1 is for your skill rating to be a 1.
No, if you get a 1, if your skill rating is a 1, you crit.
There you go. The one number you literally can't fail on is the one number you drew from the hat.
Only if you have some sort of disadvantage.
Oh yeah, if you had
some
negatives.
sort of negative modifier, like you previously like failed an crit failed an impassion or something like that. Like if there's some negative against you,
Could have a directed trait.
or if you have a negative directed trait. Are there negative directed traits in Pendragon?
Yes, there are, and you can
Okay.
have them.
Okay.
Wow. This is how we began the episode. I think that the next morning is a rude awakening for Sir Kendric, Sir Kyned, Sir Gwent, and I'm Sir Howard Hillary. There's an H name here. Hayden. As all of you are sent messengers to
Oh my
meet
god, Hayden's gonna lose his shit.
to meet at the hall of the Order of the Axe. And Gwgan, of course, you receive such a message as well. In the process, Sir Gwgan, you wake up to finding the city of Sarum and its castle-y domains to have you as the top talk of the town. And in the process, I believe I assigned you a -1 honor last time.
You did indeed. Yeah.
You actually get a -3 honor, so take another 2 off.
Okay.
I consulted the old ones, and they indicated that you get 1 for killing a noblewoman, killing an unarmed holy person, and killing in a holy place to your religion. So you get the
huge.
trifecta.
Got it.
Kendric, when you arrive, seated on a long table are the greatswords that you had on order from the London blacksmith Eiffel. They're, you could see the hilts, but the blades are wrapped by a cloth sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Gwent arrives first.
Just one greatsword. The others are just normal swords.
Ah, I see. Gwent arrives first to the hall. So he's there when you arrive and seems to be like heating up mugs of something in the fire that he has set, like along the hearth. And he passes you what is clearly, as you get closer, mulled wine with a little bit of nutmeg. Cold out.
Winter's coming.
It's a good phrase. I like that one. Maybe I'll add it to one of my cards.
Sounds like a good name for a household. A good motto for a household.
I assume you heard.
I think by tomorrow there won't be anyone in Salisbury that hasn't heard. I expect this news will echo all the way to Canterbury and back.
I wouldn't be surprised. Who else here right now? Is it just me and Sir Gwent?
It's just you and Sir Gwent, yes.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Sir Gwent?
There's one thing I've learned in overseeing the lands of Sir Amig. Castle Tilshead. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do to survive. Sir Gwgan has a good head on his shoulders, and he is a well-reasoned Christian man. If he felt this was necessary, maybe it was necessary. Either that, or he's been drinking too much from leaded cups. One or the other, really.
Don't we all?
Yes, because it's the year 500-ish.
Still have one.
Are you drinking from it right now?
I am not.
Okay, good. It'll get in your bones, literally.
But it has a mustache guard.
Sir Hayden arrives.
Mm-hmm.
He sees the mugs and he goes, "Oh, hey!" Goes over. One of them has a mustache guard and he goes, "Well, this one's not for me." because I, Sir Hayden, have no facial hair yet because I'm quite young.
He takes that one because it's obviously guarded him from getting one.
I say, my son's 12 and has facial hair.
I want to assume Hayden is baby-faced. I feel like I've always felt that, but that's because I wanted Hayden to represent the sort of fading youth that none of you have anymore because your characters are going into your 30s. And I wanted there to be a night that's like, hey guys, it's me! I killed the Baron Ember! I'm Hayden! Look! My knees don't hurt! My spine's still straight! I have all my teeth!
Welcome, Mr. Hayden.
Yeah, so
Can I
as much
have
as
a,
I'm playing Hayden in this side flash as being very jovial, his face is quite dark, and he looks on the verge of murder.
Did the messages say anything other than asking us to come here?
No, but they were sent by Hayden. The messages were all sent by Hayden.
Okay. You've called us together.
I have. I think you know why.
I mean, I can guess. What is the purpose of this meeting?
This is a brotherhood of arms.
It is.
The honor of the organization reflects on all of our personal honors and families.
It does.
I don't think I need to say anything else. I feel like that's enough. What do you have to say, since you're our leader? At that moment, Sir Kyned arrives.
Before Kyned, can I have a very quick scene at home?
Yes.
So Kyned, upon hearing the news that Harfin is dead, would immediately...
your news isn't just that Harfin is dead. Your news is the arrival of Harfin's death and the dropping off of your new orphan kid.
Mm-hmm.
All in one messenger service.
Yes. I have Darwani back. Harfin's dead. Gwgan, I know that Gwgan killed her, and of course, so I'm immediately... Well, I will put, Darwani, who's all of 8, with the nanny, and immediately call council of my Uncle Krieg and my cousins, and well, I think we owe Gwgan quite a debt. I hope this is the end, but I look to you for advice as to how we handle this politically.
Meepy just goes, and what politically? We didn't do anything.
That was my gut feeling, but you all have more years experience than I do, so I wanted to make sure that we handle everything correctly.
I think there's a lot of people looking around at this table with
And do you all agree that this is the end of it, or am I missing something?
They're originally, like, Miffy and Fawn are looking at each other, giving significant PC glances between themselves, like, This is it. Like, she's dead. We're done. Like, this is the best possible outcome we could have. Wraith is somewhat more reserved and says, you were there when you and your friends, you personally slew a particular problem during your famous duel. Lycus and the children of Lycus, Santoro, Kron, Angwin, Aiden, they're all dead, right?
Yes.
If they're dead, if Harfin is dead, then that's it. Unless you're not suggesting we harm the children.
No.
I don't see any holes here. I think that this is the best outcome we could have for us.
That was how I was seeing it. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not as wise in the ways of the nobles as some of you, given my background, and I wanted to make sure that you didn't think that I was missing something obvious.
Braith is just like in their early 40s, right? Braith is like,
oh yeah, well yes, but up until like
elderly,
2
wise.
years ago, up until like 2 years ago, Kyned was illegitimate, so he didn't go in a whole bunch for the nobility and politicking of it because it didn't matter. Like he was never going to inherit, so it didn't matter to him.
All it took was a few murders, absolute
Right.
bloodbaths on the battlefield.
I mean, yes, Brave, Mifi, Fifon are all a couple years older, and then Krieg, his uncle, is 12 years older. But like,
There's
Kyned
an agreement in this
Kyned,
room.
as the bastard, never thought that he would ever lead this house. So he never spent any time studying the politicking side of it, and he's self-aware enough to know what he doesn't know.
So one of the members of this council leans forward from sitting back. If they had pivot chairs back in the, like recliners, this would be the squeak of the recliner coming
Are their
forward.
fingers steepled?
No. I don't know about that one. No. Which is your uncle? Is it Diefrig? Krieg?
Krieg is my uncle, who is actually a knight.
Yes.
Dagonet is also my uncle, but he's not knighted.
Sits forward and he says, there is a question about legitimizing the heir. You have been legitimized yourself. There is a question of the children born of Harfin, whether you will adopt them and make the eldest the heir.
Honestly, Krieg, at this point, our bloodline is so crazed. Like, Obi and Mai's daughter is a year old. She's not going to be old enough to inherit before I have too much gray to be useful. If we went simply by age, Gwendolyn is 9. Darwani, the boy, is 8.
I'm speaking of Darwani, of course. The oldest male should inherit of the original line, should they not?
Well,
and not, he says
case,
that, and like Mifi's like, what is this?
In that case, your son Effin is 11. He's the oldest.
Now hold on. I'm not saying that my son should be adopted by you and inherit the full line of this house. But now that you've said it, it is on the table.
we're looking for the oldest child of the next generation, the one who's most likely going to be soonest of age to squire and thus inherit. Your son's the oldest by far.
Look, let me lay it out here. I would be honored if you adopted my son. I am a knight myself, and it is my intention to squire him and to see him become a knight as well. If you don't adopt him, he will have a good, solid life. There's a lot of claims inside this house. There's a lot of people who have claims to being your heir. And you need to solidify that, is what I'm actually saying. We need to get behind your claim and make it clear to outsiders that there won't be any meddling in bloodline succession of this house. Now, what that means is everyone here needs to come to an agreement on whoever you pick. So I would say pick wisely. Pick justly. I, for one, he says, rising slightly, have no problem with you adopting these other children as younger siblings to your own heirage. That your direct line should be the direct line of the house. He says, nodding to everyone. The reception here is kind of blank face. And you don't have to do it now. You could wait until you have a son, if that's what you want to do. Or more children, to kind of ensure the placement in the list of seniority. But seniority doesn't always matter in things like this. People have been known to get elder councils on their side or simply seize power through nefarious means. Sometimes less than nefarious means. You're no young man. You live a violent life. And
that is my biggest worry, Uncle.
It should be your biggest worry. Your
I will be
predecessor died
35
violently,
this
and
year.
his predecessor died violently.
I'll be 35 this year, and I feel it in my bones.
Glimo, you're hurting me.
hurting Glimo as well. I'm 7 years older than Guy when he passed, and 5 years older than Darwani when he disappeared. So, respect to you as my elder. Respect to all of you as my elders. We're all on borrowed time at this point. And I feel like the best way, my child is one. I don't know that I'm going to live long enough to squire them, let alone anything else.
As he's standing, he moves to stand behind you and put his hands on your shoulders and says, whoever you pick, I swear now by my honor and my blade, no matter who it is, should I be living, I will defend them and see that they should rise to their place. Lay down your burdens in this regard, for I am a knight as you are, of your house. All of us here are your knights.
I feel at this point we should simply go by age. Elfin will be squiring age in 5 years.
So we're going with my son then.
And
He
should
gives you a
something
shoulder
happen to
massage real
Elfin-
quick, slaps you on the shoulder, and goes, "Great, excellent." He wants to sit down at the table. He's so happy.
And should something happen to Elfin, then
God
I
forbid.
believe we go with the twins.
God forbid.
God forbid. But I think at this point, our house is teetering. We've had great losses and not a lot of progeny.
No enemies and good friends. He raises a mug to drink out of. But it's breakfast, so he's probably just drinking Irish coffee. They don't have coffee at this time period. Deeply unfortunate. Is there alcohol and tea combination? Is that what kombucha
Yeah,
is?
hot toddy.
Oh, a hot toddy, of course. What's the one that they have from Dimension 20? A cortado? He just has a
Cortado is a Spanish coffee, right?
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I thought it had something to do with lemonade as well. Either way, he's got the Game of Thrones Starbucks cup sitting out to let you know that this production is slightly ahistorical. Speaking of, we cut back to the present where you enter into the hunting lodge. All of a sudden, the colors everywhere get really oversaturated, and we hear a live studio audience clapping as you enter, like it's cheers. Someone goes, "Whoa!" Come in. But then the camera turns back onto the face of, oh my God, Hayden, and the colors go very dark once again.
What is it you mean to do,
My brothers.
Sir Kyned? Welcome.
Did you know about this, Kyned? Says Hayden.
Found out this morning.
Did you bargain for this?
No, but I owe Gwgan a debt that I feel can never be repaid.
I'm sure. But an easy way to earn a man's loyalty, as long as you do not care about the commandments of Christ.
I feel we've made this very clear that I don't.
But Sir Gwgan does. Or at least he claims to. And I think we can all agree here that this was an unchristian act.
So then should we not hear him out?
Have I said anything to imply that we would not hear him out?
No, you've been rather vague on that point.
Well, then I'll just sit down and shut up if that would make you feel better, Sir Kendric.
Is Hayden wearing a sword?
No, but there are... I've
Four swords on the table.
Chekhov sorted some swords
Yes, you
in the
have.
local area.
You have?
I wonder if Chekhov's sword is a real trope. I'm going to go look that up now as Sir Gwgan enters the scene. Or doesn't. I guess it's a real question whether he comes.
No, I will come here, definitely.
Sir Gwgan, welcome.
As soon as Gwgan enters, Kyned comes up to him and
If you
goes
look like
down
you're about,
on his knees
okay, so if you look like you're about to embrace, probably I would have put a hand up. But if you,
and says, "What you have done is a debt I do not have any way to repay."
I didn't do this for you, Rod, and I have to account myself to my brothers. I need to. I assume that I've been summoned here to do so, and that's what I intend to do. Was it clear, by the way, that the invite came from Hayden in what I got, or is it just a general
Yeah, I think so.
summons? Okay.
I would like to hear what you have to say, Sir Gwgan, though I was not the one who summoned you.
Thank you. I must honestly say that there are parts that I have confessed to the Countess and parts that I have not yet been able to confess to her. And I owe her an explanation before I owe my brothers an explanation on those elements. So I will not speak to the things that I have not yet spoken to her on. Hayden, as you called me here, or called us all here, then I need to account for two parts. I need to account where I stand, or where I believe I stand before God, and where I stand before the laws of this realm, because these two things are quite separate in this case. To the matter of God first, Hayden, I don't know if you know, but over various times, the bishops and fathers of the church in our area have granted me indulgences on behalf of God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, both venal and plenary. A recollection, or say, a recognition of the fact that that my part in God's plan is presupposed, even when it is not clear to all of us here. I believe that what I have done, I have already accounted myself to God for, and the indulgences I've been granted are a part of that. They are no longer something which I possess either physically or spiritually. I still understand that when the time comes to account myself before St. Peter, that I may be asked questions once more of what I've done. But I did what I did, believing that it was part of God's plan. As horrible as it is in the eyes of those of us who still walk upon his world. Of the mortal legal side, there is no doubt that I have committed a most horrific crime. I have murdered somebody in a guise of peace in the house of God, in a place that she was to be protected when she was unarmed and unable to defend herself. And that is something that is a truly terrible thing. I would want the head of any man who had committed such crimes. My reason for doing so, as I said, I can only account for what I've already accounted to the Countess, is that I believed that Harfen created a real threat of greater conflict and war here once more. I went to her seeking to resolve the matter between her and Harad. I offered her what she wanted. I offered her a house for her and her children. I offered her wealth. But it was clear that wasn't what she wanted. What she wanted was what she felt was just, to take back the house that had been rightfully given by our liege to Harad. And I knew that she was also attempting to sway the church to support her case, something that would create conflict between Countess Ellen, Lord Robert, and the church, and potentially give others who are still not yet completely given over to their support of Ellen reason once again to raise arms. We've just come out of a bloody battle fought over, initially over a disrespect to the Countess, but really triggered by discontent over the situation with Harad's house. And I could see the situation spiraling into that, and I could see an opportunity to end it once and for all. At a huge cost to me, I understand. My honor is in tatters. And unfortunately, my honor extends to this brotherhood as well. So if it was the will of the brotherhood to exclude me, to remove me from this brotherhood, then I would understand that in full. I didn't do it to save my honor. I did it to save Sarum, which is more important to me than, I will admit to all of you, my service to Ellen and Robert comes second only to my service to God.
As that heavy pause lies in the air. We cut to a commercial break for toothpaste, and we'll return for the middle part in about 5 minutes. And hey, I didn't mention it at the beginning because I was doing a whole bit, but thanks for the resubscribes, GrimDarkJames and Glimo. What? We're going out? No, wait, no! Hayden rises from the table and sets his mug down before the hearth. With his back turned to all of you, lit by the fires, he says, "Who are you to decide where the loyalty of the church lies, Sir Gwgan? You say you have done this to keep a war in hand. You say you have done this to control the church. Who are you to make such decisions? If you would see the fruits of the kingdom of God, the Bible has laid out very clearly the words of the Savior and Messiah. You must have in your heart kindness, passion, self-sacrifice, and from what I hear in your words, I hear arrogance and pride, the sins of the fallen angels of heaven. The
Seems
worst
to me is
sin
the
of
holder
all.
of an indulgence, says Kyned from the Peanut Gallery.
Sorry, did you say that?
Yeah, Kyned absolutely says this. Seems to me is the holder of an indulgence. Isn't that a holy writ in your book?
He turns to you and holds out a finger and he says, that crime, the crime of the murder, is forgiven. These crimes, which he confesses to now, acting as a puppet master for the church, holding a great sin in his heart, it is clear he has no forgiveness in himself for the act he has done. He feels as if he has done nothing wrong. I say to you, there are very clear indicators, reason, and logic given to us by God that tell us what you need to have in your heart if you want to go to heaven. You speak of a conversation with St. Peter, you would be lucky to have one with this behavior.
Religion seems much more complex than I understood at first.
Please, Kenny. Hayden is right. I have no certainty that I will see heaven after what I have done. I believe, and you may call it arrogance if you believe so, Hayden, that I have done God's will. And it would be selfish to assume that in doing God's will, one is guaranteed a place at his side. I don't feel I'm guaranteed that. But I did feel that what I did was necessary. I did feel that what I did would protect others. And if I have earned eternal damnation for that, then what more can I do?
I would say that you should consult the Bible. Ecclesiasticus chapter 21, verse 10 says that the way of sinners is made plain with stones, that at the end thereof is a pit of hell. Or as it's known among the Portuguese, who may or may not exist at this time, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, Sir Gwgan. I forgive you, and I would embrace you as a brother. But know that God may not forgive your actions, because I see in you an arrogance. I forgive you nonetheless. And he goes in for a hug.
I think I would, under those circumstances, allow.
He just regularly hugs you. He's crying as well. Like, this discussion is deeply emotional for him. Like, you're a hero to him, and you've done something very bad.
Yeah.
I know. I could see Spoon smiling there, and I know that Glimo already dodged a hug in this episode. They're not all murderous hugs. I'm sorry, I can't provide that shock value. Plus, if we just did it every episode, it would lose all value. We've run out of characters pretty quickly too.
I did say when we went to break and you dropped off your screen up, I did say to the others that like where shit might get real is down to if Gwgan does have time alone with the Countess. But I am not going to kill her. I will promise you, I'm not going to kill the Countess.
So much more worried because you keep saying you're not going to kill her, but there's so many other bad things you could do. At that point, a messenger arrives at the door and says, "Hello, is this?" "That's me. I've got a Londoner accent, but because the GM's American, I guess I sound like I'm from the Mid-Atlantic." "It's me, a messenger from London. Is this the Order of the Axe?"
It is.
Knock, knock, knock. "Mind if I open the door?"
Please enter.
He comes in with a scroll and he says, "I've got here a message from a particular individual in London who wanted to have a meeting with some of you. I'll just put this here on the table. You can unroll that at your own convenience." And then he turns and kind of half pivots and coughs.
I toss him a denarii.
All right, he takes it and he leaves and closes the door. You can hear him whistling and doing the, flipping the denarii and catching it. You hear the ping of the metal.
Did he check it with his teeth?
No,
Make sure it's solid?
no, he doesn't have teeth. What do you think this is? 1521? No, it's 497. People don't have teeth when they hit their 40s.
Sir Kendric will take the scroll.
Okay. The scroll is a notification that Garçon of London, who is a French cook who has cooked for the High King of England, of Logres, and many others besides, is seeking employment and is willing to accept a 5-year contract for 20 pounds of silver and several articles that will need to be purchased as well, including inextinguishable cloth from Greece. He is great at parties and will certainly spice up any noble house which he is attached to. He has many certificates of his employment and his particular good skill, but unfortunately his lord and his lady both died at St. Albans, and he cannot provide a reference from his current place of employment.
It would be super funny if Kyned went into debt to hire this guy.
Before we move to other matters, where Hayden has forgiven me, Hayden is not the entirety of the order. Gwent, Kendric, Kyned, I need to know where you stand.
Gwent just nods.
On where I stand.
There's no need for forgiveness from me. You did what you had to do. You have to make what's right up in your heart. And you got to make it right in whatever way you feel is necessary. We're knights. We let our swords do the talking.
As I said at first, I see this as an incredible service to my house that I can never repay. You may have had your own reasons wrapped around that, but I see this as you doing me an incredible service at a cost to your own house and honor and possible freedom, and I am your man.
Know, Kendric, that when I next speak with the Countess, would offer to her that restitution I would make to Harfin's family would be to offer Widderborn Stoke as a household for her children, if you do not wish to adopt them into your family.
As of now, I'm considering them still part of House Laverstock, but I appreciate the gesture, and should they come of age and not wish it, then we can have a discussion. But given that the oldest are 9, I don't think they really understand what is happening. Blissfully unaware.
I think what you have done, I agree with your reasoning. I do think Lady Harfin would have, if not a war, at least some sort of conflict that would have riven Salisbury apart. But whether you did it for reasons that we agree with or not, the consequences fall on all of us. But I hold no ill will towards you, Sir Gwgan, provided you submit to the justice of the king when there is one.
Indeed, and definitely I will. Wherever I stand in terms of my soul and indulgences, I'm still bound by the laws of this kingdom and will abide them.
I was going to wait until Christmas to give these gifts, but I feel that now is probably a good time. And Kendric will walk over to the table and take out the long swords. And they are steel swords with engravings of everyone's house words on them, and like silver and gold worked into like the hilts. They're like essentially they're very nice swords. So he hands a sword to each of you.
One sword has the words "fancy a game" on.
These are beautiful. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
I feel I owe both of you debts that I can never repay.
Just use it well. And that will be repayment enough.
One day, perhaps, says Hayden. Perhaps we might draw these swords together as brothers in pursuit of a truly noble, just, and knightly cause. He does the, just show just enough of the blade.
Yeah,
Look at it without pulling the whole sword out.
sure.
It's like a Japanese sword. Once you draw it, you got to spill blood.
That was one of my favorite episodes of Babylon 5. Where he's like, you can't draw the ritual knife. And he's like, but I must defend myself from your words. I am no scholar. You have blooded me, sir. And then at the end of the conversation, after everyone's happy with that, he's like, no, actually, everything I said was total bullshit. And he cuts himself and draws the blood. It's like, yeah, it was a good speech, but also I'm secretly super hardline conservative. It was a great episode. Most non-season 1 episodes of Babylon 5 are pretty good.
So let me
carry
ask.
my sword in the open. You carry your sword in your hearts.
Ah,
and your
you know what I'm
minds.
talking about. Yes.
So as people who were like, role-playing white males in the last sort of 30 years, how many of us here at some point bought a cheap set like Katana and Wakizashi set from like a, that's a pretty common thing, isn't it? That like, nerds do still. I mean, I certainly, yeah.
2 wooden swords.
Yeah.
And I have a set of chef's utensils. Sorry.
Okay.
Let me make a Dimension 20s reference. Chef's tools.
Yeah.
I worked for a sword company for 10 years.
We're saying go to any flea market here, and I can guarantee you can buy for like $200 a little stand with a katana and a wakizashi.
I'm pretty much assure you that those swords will not hold up to any sort of rigorous.
Yeah. I was gonna say I've never done the katana, but I definitely have a stage claymore, or had a stage claymore.
Now, some of my chef's utensils might hold up to rigorous combat as long as that combat involves a knife of 6 inches or less. Trying to get the Turkish meat cleaver. I don't know if you see like the survival shows are all doing this on YouTube, where they've got like this really nice thick blade that's curved like a mezzaluna, and then they put it in the piece of wood that they're serving on, and I'm just like, I want one of those.
There is a German dueling book from the 1500s, Sword and Tankard.
I assume you splash the ale in the other person's face and then follow up.
It's doing blocks with a metal tankard in your offhand.
I would assume it'd be Bierstein if it's a German, like a big hefty.
Well, this was before the
age of the Stein,
the giant, leader Steins was.
They sell it in pints.
I've played enough Tekken to know the power of drunken kung fu.
Oh, come on now. I'm not sure Tekken is a very good representation of real world martial arts. I'm pretty sure the move right now in Tekken is to play the Kazama sister and spam her magical healing hands to purify people of their evil energy. And I gotta tell you, if someone did that to me, I would either be in incredibly intense pain or just go, why are you touching me like that, weirdo?
So, speaking of chef utensils, what do we think of this?
Chef's utensils.
1568.
What do you think of this offer from Garçon of London? 5 years of service for 20 pounds of silver. Just to be clear, it does say you'll also need to buy inextinguishable cloth from Greece.
Oh, if Kyned had it, he'd absolutely do it, but he doesn't.
Yeah,
it's probably that white and red checked restaurant tablecloth. You
No, it's
like
asbestos.
every European.
It's asbestos.
I do not.
You can clean asbestos cloths by throwing it in the fire and then pulling it out. It's quite cool in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people use it in this day and age. They didn't live long enough to suffer the ill effects of their.
What can't asbestos do?
I mean,
be set on fire. Be flammable.
Mesothelioma.
I do not have the funds to patronize this man. Or at least I won't until
you
the
could
next
start
year.
a Patreon. Get a collective group.
You see.
Okay, if you're not rich enough to eat like a king, that's okay.
I mean, I feel like because you throw this in front of us, I should.
I mean, we could theoretically collectively hire him.
Oh, hire him for the Order of the Axe.
Indeed.
Oh my god. You guys are literally making a club hall, so you leave your wives behind to go hang out and drink good alcohol together and eat good food. Every day your wife's like, why are you working out in the garage? Why aren't you using your study? And you're like, oh, no reason at all.
Just gonna at least start.
I couldn't afford 20, but I could afford the 5 and put off one of my
it would be 4. There are 5 members of the order.
Well,
If everyone else would put up 5.
Yeah, Hayden definitely can't afford it.
Yeah.
Gwent also can't afford it. He only has one castle. Now, admittedly, it's a full castle, and it's nice. It also has no local population because it's meant to hold off powers of witches and giants.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could fund it. I just, because obviously Arthur wants to, go somewhere with this, and I feel like I owe it to the GM after killing off, one of his plot lines is to explore another one.
You don't have to get this. I'm Crusader Kings 3. I'm going to offer you nice stuff that costs lots of money as a way of depreciating your treasury. And the things you think are interesting, we'll explore more. And the things that you don't, I might give to your enemies.
All right. Well,
listen, here's what I know. I know that Sir Kendric is about to make a power play for prestige because he's worried about the rising power of a certain northern baron. And if you pass up this French chef, someone's going to be eating good in Salisbury. And if it's not you, I know who it's going to be.
Look, I think that this particular Shark Tank is going to take a pass.
Oh my God, my first time Shark Tanking with the CEO, and I got destroyed instantly. Well, this is exactly how I imagined it.
Does he need the payment up front?
He does need the payment up front.
Okay, then I cannot help him.
I can put up 5 if other people want to fund it for the order.
I will not have the money until after this winter phase.
Yeah, I mean,
the problem with that being liquid. Liquid.
Yeah. The outcome is not really something that excites me that much. Excites
No, you can stop, James. It's okay. You've hurt me enough. My Shark Tank dreams are over now. This product just doesn't excite me. And then I hang my head in shame, and the light over me goes out. I've seen half of an episode of Shark Tank, but I'm pretty sure I know how it goes. I mean, I've seen Fear Factor, so I pretty much know how all shows of this particular regard are going to go. Okay. Over the next few days, you receive word that Sir Leo has been so deeply affected by recent events that he is withdrawing from society in order to pray for Sir Gwgan and on behalf of Sir Gwgan, so that he might figure out what a right and just course of action is. On the other hand, Sir Bar has announced that Sir Gwgan has done everyone a favor, and that he should be well regarded. That this has solved a problem which could have persisted. Is there anything you want to do before the end of the year festival?
Kyned would like to speak with Gwgan before the Winter Festival.
The Christmas Court? Very well.
Before the Christmas Court.
All right, let's do it. Where do we do it?
Either we could do it directly after the meeting we had at the Order of the Axe. That's probably the easiest place to do it. He would pull you aside and say, Sir Gwgan, I know that we spoke briefly about my conversion, and now, given what has happened, I feel a little awkward, and I wanted to speak with you about whether this is... I thought we were solving a problem, and the last thing I want to do is to create more problems for you, especially if my converting would make things better for you with the church, then absolutely I'm still for it. If it would cause more questions, then I don't want to make things a mess either. And I look to you for guidance here.
Kyned, faith is a very important thing, but it is a thing that is between you and God or whatever gods you believe in. Your decision about where your faith lies should not at all be driven by what works or doesn't work for me or for the church or for anyone other than you. I am here if you want to talk about it, if you want advice, if you want to go ahead, if you want to pull out. That's not up to me, that's up to you. But don't at any point think that the decision is anything to do with anyone other than yourself.
I'll say I don't know where my faith lies. I've never thought about it much. As I told you when we talked about this before, I keep to the old faith because my family did. But other than earning the offerings at the right time of the year, what do you folk call it? The Christmas and Easters? I feel like that's what I am in my own world. I don't know enough about your religion to know whether or not it calls to me.
Agnosticism is not a sin, but apostasy is. So don't do anything until you're certain. I'm happy to take you to teach you everything I can about my beliefs and the beliefs of the church. And if you find something there that resonates with you, then that's up to you. But this is not a decision that should be rushed into at any point in time. It's something that you must square away with yourself and with whatever deity you resolve with.
Perhaps we can pray on it during the holidays. I would happily, should you go to Mass this Christmas, accompany you and learn more about your faith.
Then I welcome you.
I think Kendric goes to visit the Countess.
Well, well, well. You go to visit the Countess. She receives you in a extremely formal and noble manner in the open hall, but there are few people here. I think she has the pillow of the white heart like in her lap.
Sure.
You know? It's like a hand warmer.
I mean, there was probably enough to like make a set of gloves too.
Sure. She has the gloves on as well. Now it's a lap warmer, like a cat.
Exactly.
But less annoying.
My
She
lady.
looks down at you and says, "So Kendric, I am honored for you to come here before me. What has brought your service to my halls once more?"
When you and I last spoke, you asked me if I had any reason to believe that the manors that we spoke of needed knights in them immediately.
I did.
And I believe I have. And when we spoke, I said that I did not have any reason to believe that they needed knights now. But now I feel I've come across a new reason that they may. Your court is sparse on knights. We all know this. It is one of our major problems to solve. With the hunt this summer, and with its already current number of vassal knights, Lord Huel,
Baron, you.
Yes. Is becoming a dominant force within Salisbury. He controls a third of our forces. I believe that there needs to be a balance to Salisbury, a balance to check the power of any single vassal. And so I believe those manors do need knights. And I believe that I can put knights in them.
You have a list of individuals you would call forward,
I do.
and you would have them be in my service.
I would have them be in my service and my service to you.
You are asking to become a banneret knight, a knight
I
lord.
am. Yes, my lady.
It is certainly not unusual for someone of your prestige and glory and honor to become a banneret. But you are asking me to gift or grant you manors so that you might directly stand against the influence of one of my most glorious and influential servants. Do you have anything to offer me to suggest that Baron Huil is anything less than totally loyal?
I would not cast aspersions on Baron Huel's honor, but I would note that he was the final knight of this county to swear to you.
This manner will not be decided by this conversation. I will need to think more on this. You are asking me to lesser my own power and influence, and frankly, funds, to give you more to act as a check against someone who you cannot say is not already loyal. Part of my concern is that it is traditional for a banneret to have at least 8 vassals. Between that and your Order of the Axe, you would have enough power to directly contest Sir Wheel now that he controls 15 manors. You would very well be a threat on the same level as the man that you say could be a problem to me in the future. And you are asking me to give up much to allow you to achieve this. Do you have anything to offer, some greater oath or service that you might do for me?
You, my lady. I have several daughters. Your son needs a wife. In tying our families together, you would assure that I would be your loyal vassal.
Sir Kendric, I do not mean to cast down your house in any way. I am sure that should my son, when he is count, to marry one of his vassal knight's daughters, he would be lucky to have her. But there is more than just the question of your honor and lineage. There is a question of reputation. For a count to marry so far below his own station, during these times. And to be quite frank, there are many more noble daughters available than there are noble sons.
This is true.
It's a buyer's market out here. Your daughters are young and may not survive that long, just to be frank. You are asking me to put a lot on you. And in this, I find you as well will benefit far more than you have lost. You ask much of me.
These times ask much of us all.
I will think on this matter. My answer will not come quickly.
Of course.
I would never dismiss the concerns a knight has brought before me in council. I agree with you that no one individual should wield enough power to threaten my son's position. I thank you for your service.
Of course,
You are
my lady.
excused.
And he'll, bow and leave.
As you leave, you can see that she is deeply troubled by this conversation, as now he's worrying if she has more than one rival on the field. Anything else anyone would like to do before the Christmas feast, the Yuletide, or as it's known, the Muner Yule?
Me.
All set.
So, I'm
Okay.
good.
It is a somber, anxious, and some would even say paranoid Christmas court. It is a dark winter. There is no king. Chaos and anarchy reign supreme. There are Saxons to the south, or Guesi, if you prefer. The Isle of Wight has fallen violently via the sword in a quick campaign. Salisbury's allies are stalwart. Your East Saxons have come when called once. And your relationship with Silchester lies on a very thin line, given that Sir Kendric raided them this year. And Ulfius's response is like, what the fuck are you doing, man? There are many ladies to support who have no husbands, and so must petition the Countess or any knights that they can. Remarriages are getting common. And to be very frank, knights picking up something on the side is becoming as unchristian and more common than perhaps it should be. And of course, unspoken above all of this are the most recent actions of Sir Gwgan.
Oh, I think it's quite spoken.
At the feast, no. At the feast, no. Before the feast and maybe after the feast, yes. But at the feast, no. There are... What is spoken at the feast is that Robert is only 9 years old. And he will not be a knight until the year 509. It is a long time before he is made count. And that is a long, long stretch. Perhaps the thing that kicks off the celebration of the Christmas court and brings some small amount of joy and cheer to the festivities and officially kicks off the pre-feasting dancing and such is a messenger who bears word from the top gossip of London, Lady Tiffany. The messenger is one of the troubadours of the group Breakfast at Tiffany's, who I will remind you, their sole objective in life is to have breakfast with Lady Tiffany because she is the top gossip monger. now that I've got all the memes out the way, Duke Ulfius is sending announcements in every direction by fastest runners in ships that his son Ufo and his heir will be wedded to Lady Jenna in the future once both he and she are old enough, that they shall be fiancés for now, and thus the power of Salisbury and of Silchester shall be united. Coming with that missive is a private note for Sir Kendric indicating that until such time as the marriage is executed, you may find hunting grounds further east than Silchester, should you wish to raid as far south as Sussex or Hampshire. You may pass through Silchesterian lands looking for raid and cows. Please do not come to the east forest of your lands. We will be upset. There will be problems. Is there anything anyone would like to do at this Christmas fest now that people are all toasting the Lady Jenna, who has frankly not been seen in years? She's a very behind-the-scenes princess around these parts.
She's marrying a cousin.
Listen, this is, I don't want to say too much,
baby.
James, as, you know, but Europeans be like that, okay?
Nobles be like
Forget
that. Yeah.
Europeans. It's legal where I am, so.
Okay, well, it's been legal in states that I live in as well, but you know, I have no follow-ups. So anyway, that feast, right, guys? The thing we're going to talk about instead of the thing you want to talk about?
For me, the main thing that Gwgan is looking for is to have a moment to, you know, confess a bit more to Ellen in some.
She has set the time aside for you, and so she leaves her drink, and the two of you enter into a short cinematic montage of the two of you walking through a Yule-decorated castle, moving towards a private room. Two guards are placed outside. The banners of her house and yours hang there.
I've got to hand it on my indulgences before I go inside, you know, like. My lady, I said that there was more that I would confess, and there are things that I must say and say once only. I find you to be the strongest, most courageous, most beautiful woman that I have ever met. It was an honor that you took my cousin's child under your wing to see that she is safe until she can take up this household. You have a tough time, I understand, with what has to be done, but you have acquitted yourself in a way that is awe-inspiring to me. With that being said, something I've come to learn recently is that we are in dark times, and sometimes the only way to find our way to the light is through a deeper darkness. I sought in every way to avoid something terrible when I meant to meet with Harfin. I offered her everything that she had asked for, except the right to create discord in your realm. And once that was the only thing that she would offer, I considered coming back to you to speak of this, but I realized that I could not sully your innocence by asking you to give this order. I would rather lose my life, if that's what it meant when the High King makes a decision, than it would be to ask you to give the order to do something like this. I did what I did because of my love for you, a love that I would not dishonor the memory of your husband, my wife, my family in, but you must know it exists. And so I stand before you with my heart bared that I will do whatever I can to ensure the safety of you and your child in this realm, even if it means putting myself in both mortal and immortal peril. I'm sorry for what trouble this has caused you, but I just needed you to know that as dark times come ahead, if you need, well, I will still be looking out for ways to protect not only your life but your innocence.
We're debating. You do have a more Ellen, correct?
I do certainly do have a more Ellen, yes.
And I'm just checking in here. I'm pretty sure you're actually married.
I am actually married, 100%, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am gonna let you choose
right here off camera.
Yes. So. I'm gonna let you choose whether you are rolling loyalty lord or love family when you're speaking to her as a passion, adding your Amor Ellen to that role as a directed trait.
Well, Amor Ellen is a separate passion. Amor is a separate passion.
Ah, I see. Well, then let's roll that.
Yeah. Okay.
See how true this Amor is.
Oh, I've got a Wayne share for some reason. 1 second.
As my cat would say, that's Amor. Eh?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, a 12. Oh, this is a real luck shot here. What, 60%?
Whoa!
Oh. All right, I'm gonna ask you to choose. Checkmark that, by the way. Checkmark that shit.
Nice.
I'm gonna ask you to choose whether you are rolling chaste, lustful, or worldly, spiritual.
Look, I think that I
need to know whether your love. What I need you to tell me the boundaries of your love for this woman.
So I think the problem with the more, as opposed to like I have love God, I have love family.
Mm-hmm.
A more is it's a passion.
It's an admiration as well. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that
but Amor can get wildly out of hand in the Arthurian universe and absolutely shatter the round table. So I don't think it's that weird to say, oh, if you fail at a chase roll, we're going to make a lustful roll, and shit could get real here.
And I think that's what I think that in the interest of Arthurian lore, that's what I'm more likely to roll chase lustful. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm not about to force myself on a opponent right now.
Yeah, I get it. But this conversation could get heated, and something could happen that permanently changes the relationship between the two of you that leads to such a situation. James, I'm not worried your character's about to slam her against the wall and put your hand over her head and be like, that's right, I'm here to smooch you now. We got to keep this video monetized first off.
Yeah.
Make it chase roll.
And just to be clear, like, I'm not trying to, he's not trying to make her reciprocal to this. He's just like,
yes, what the I understand. Is. I'm going to make her roll once we figure this out. Okay.
So I did pass chase.
You can check mark chase. I honestly don't know whether I'm going to have her do the political implications of how powerful it would be to have you as a secret personal Amor knight who goes out and does secret missions for her vis-a-vis Guinevere and Lancelot, with Lancelot being like, I don't know, I'll go conquer France for you, babe. I'm just going to make the roll. This relationship would be better for you if this was a 13 or lower. It's a 5. Okay. The relationship between the two of you changes as a result of this. But it doesn't change in like a deeply Game of Thronesian sexualized way. It changes to one where she is now assured of your loyalty, not just because you are a knight, but because you are personally loyal to her. And I think she might show that by giving you a favor. giving you some symbol of her house to display, to show that despite everything, you're still you, Gwgan. You're still the knight that is here. You're still a knight of Salisbury.
Sounds good.
I want to imagine that at some point you are kneeling during this conversation and she puts her hand on your head and we get the deific god beam coming through a window. But that's just because I like that kind of shit. It's nighttime for the winter festival, so probably that doesn't happen. But maybe there's a cool candlelit, backlighting. There's going to be some cinematography in the animated version of this for sure.
Cool.
I'll consult with my good friend Peter Jackson. He'll help me work it out. Wow, this really changes the power structure of the local county to have you be moored with her. All right, interesting. Well, you leave this room and you go back to your wife.
Yeah, my amour for her is higher than my love or my support for the fellowship. To be honest, so
yeah. He'd do anything for amour, but he wouldn't do that. I don't know. I'm throwing things out here. Speaking of throwing things out, I'm going to throw the audience out for a 5-minute break because we just hit 9 p.m. here. We'll be back with more incredible revelations and crazy shit. GrimDarkJames this hair is gonna be full gray by the end of the episode. James is aging me heavily. All right, welcome back to the Festival Under the Sea Festival. I rolled for Our Lady's Amour Gwgan to see if it would be significant enough to keep track of, and it's actually pretty damn significant. You've drawn her into mutual admiration. You are her second most glorious knight, after all. Yes, you do need a squid hat. Yes. Hey, I'm just glad someone got that reference.
I'm always here for all things guilt.
I'm here for most things guilt. Not Blades, though, because his actor directly insulted me on stream. It's pretty interesting having beef with Vince Casso. That's all I'm gonna say. For him, it was just one day of Among Us. For me, it was a Tuesday.
I think that's the other way around.
No, I'm pretty sure I said it correctly as well.
Okay.
I'm never going back. The Among Us days are over. I can't handle it. One big thing that comes out of tonight's festivities is the dual discussions that your former friends and Estragals and Norgals that kind of maybe have screwed you over in the past are currently ass deep in Irish, just absolutely roving over the land, completely fucking everything up. And there's some concerns that they could get as far as Summerland. Or maybe even Gloucester. That the
worse, Gloucester.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I've been mispronouncing Salisbury the entire episode, including right now. But
Salisbury, you got right, Salisbury.
That's where I get my steaks.
Wow.
Went to my butcher and I was like, "Give me some of those Salisbury steaks," and he was like, "We don't include gravy."
Okay. Last time I spent a night in Salisbury, I had Chinese food.
I mean, it's the modern era, I like how I said that there was nutmeg available earlier. No one batted an eye, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure it's from India. Then again, I already made a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court reference, so who knows?
I think one of the things Kendric is doing at this feast is he's like going around and talking to the other knights to like gauge the temperature of leading a raid south.
The question there is going to be which south?
Sussex.
Okay, Sussex is very different than leading a raid on, say, King Kendric, yes. You don't have a lot of knights,
Mhm.
and that's a long way to go and leave Salisbury undefended.
And I mean, I think he's.
Are you asking any knights in particular?
I think he's kind of like trying to get the.
It should be noted
vibe.
there are almost twice as many knights as the last time that this group. In the last year, Sir Wheel has knighted 7 more knights.
Well, so is that in addition to like the household knights he already had?
Yes, he's
Jesus. So he has.
he has 15 knights.
Okay, so he's got way more than he had before.
Yes, he's
Jesus,
infifing
okay.
people left and right. He's been claiming manors in the north that are laying unprotected, and he's doing a little bit of
So he's been claiming manors.
Yeah, he's been claiming manors across the border.
He's just across the border with who?
North.
So
Ridichan.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of Silchester, a little bit of Somerset, a little bit of Clarence, just kind of expanding the border in every direction.
Okay.
You know how it is when you're playing Civ 6 and you need to get your influence as far out so that you can spread your religion for your culture for your victories. And you just start kind of moving. And people are going, wait, didn't we have an agreement that you wouldn't pass this red line? And you're like, I needed that resource that was there. And now, 100 years later, your influence is pushing up against somebody else, and it's not great.
Sure. Okay. So he has 15 total knights now?
15 total knights, yes. And
Okay.
all of those knights are here.
Mhm.
Are there any knights of note that you would like to approach? It's okay if you don't have any. We'll just make a different kind of roll. But are there any knights of note that you would like to approach to see if they will go with you?
Titania?
That's a very good first ask.
Sure.
I'm not even going to make a roll. Titania and her crew would love to go on a long distance raid to kill people and get tons of money.
Yeah. Sir Bar?
Sir Bar's in?
Okay. I asked Sir Arnold, but I'm not like expecting him to.
That will take a roll.
Yeah.
I'm
because
going to roll for him.
Yeah, because he's a progress knight. So
You want a
like,
16 or lower. Yeah, I mean, he's not always free. You'd have to do it in a pretty specific. All right, so you approach him and he simply says, I like what you're doing, but I have duties to Robert and I have duties to the Countess. I am sorry, Sir Kendric.
I understand. You have done me no insult by refusing.
I don't see this year. Next year, I don't see it happening next year. Ask me again in the future. We'll see if my schedule clears up.
Of course.
Hey, don't take all the cows without me. There's one thing we love at Salisbury. It's steaks.
And then
in chat, we have Ticking Time Bob Gaming showing up here. One of our Pendragon friends. His multiple Arthuriana campaigns becoming legendary.
and then I think Sir Eastgwang, and then Dame Modron.
Okay. I'm going to roll for them as well. You're going to want a 13 or lower. Okay. Eastgwin and Modron don't really have manners, so they're 100% available to help you out on this one.
Okay. What about Sir Wayland?
Also fully available, and I'll count it as part of the roll.
Okay. So that gives me...
I think Sir Wayland would lean in towards you as he accepts this, and he goes, I understand you have a very close relationship with the Countess. And he turns and he looks over. Actually, Gwgan, are you wearing the favor you've just been given?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that, yeah.
So he like
The fact that
turns
she-
and he head gestures toward Gwgan, and you see for the first time he's wearing the Countess's favor. And Waylon winks at you and he goes, I think sticking by you and your people might be a good way to earn glory, to earn honor, and maybe one of those empty manors the Countess is holding on to. So, you've got my sword. I, Wayland, son of Utani, will ride by your side. You have to have known that that was coming. I mean, it's been like 2 months since I named him.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's an interesting spelling for Wayland. Well, I'll be glad to have it, Sir Wayland.
Yes, you will, he says as he turns and says, oh, Dame Odrin. And he shuffles over to go talk to her with a mug in hand.
Then I think Sir Kendric is going to find Sir Kyned and Sir Gwgan and pitch a raid to them as well. Brothers, I have
Yes.
After my, we'll call it less than successful raiding last season, I have spoken to Duke Ulfius, and he has given me safe passage through his lands to raid our Saxon neighbors. Are either of you, I've been speaking with the other knights in the county, are any of you interested in going on a raid to Sussex this next year?
So, I mean, we're in the winter now, aren't we? So,
Yes.
you mean after the winter?
Yes. Yeah. Next year.
I mean, I would suggest that. So I would like to see if the council has any duties for us during the Pentecostal feast. But if we have the free time, of course, I will always join you.
Excellent. Sir Kyned?
Agreed.
Fantastic.
Apparently my schedule has freed up.
Through the archway that guests enter through, a half-drunk, stumbling Bishop Roger comes in and he says, King Clovis! Let us drink to the honor of King Clovis, for he has been baptized in the Nicene way. He is a Christian among us, and all of the Franks shall be the same. And frankly, that's the kind of Franks I want to have beef with. And so, someone walks over and is just like, Bishop Roger, you're drunk. And he's like, you're damn right I am. This is big news for people here, especially among Christians. The idea of a non-Arayan Christian king is a pretty big deal, but the double concern that he would convert he unite all of the Frankish tribes, all of the Gauls, all of the Goths underneath one banner, and that banner be Nicene Christian is a big, big deal. And we're looking at the birth of the Catholic Church, essentially, in France.
Do you mean the Archbishop of Rome has accepted this?
Bishop Rogers just like, you mean the Pope?
Yes.
Because Galatius Anastasius is the one that sent me the message. I fucking hate you, Gwgan, but you're not wrong. You son of a dog. He says very drunkenly towards you.
Right. Well, interesting.
That's so accurate for drunk people. I fucking hate you.
I've been drunk once or twice upon a time before heart medication became a thing. I still have my canister of White Claws that I bought on January 6th, 2021. I can see them from right here, all completely ice. You know, I really should throw them out. They've got to have gone bad. It's been over 3 years. They have to be quite bad.
They weren't good to begin with, let's face it.
Wow! Get out of here! You coming in my White Claws? Glimo, you coming in my White Claws? I'm sorry I don't have the sophistication to drink dry red wine like you right now. Jesus, what are you, my mother? Look, back in my day, you could get a Parabay that tasted like coconut rum, all right? And it was good. And it would get you drunk eventually. Back in my day. That's what Bishop Rogers says. He goes, coconuts. We'll find them one day. We'll find them on an island. They're real. They're round. And the juice is very middling. It's all right. I've seen it in a dream.
Heard if you put the lime in the coconuts.
Someone starts singing the tequila song, the one that's 2 minutes long, and they just say tequila 3 times.
It's breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh my god. We're really keeping the memes going. Okay. Yes, it is the Bard Troupe Breakfast at Tiffany's. Yes.
Who Kyned is supporting.
It's true. It's true. I think that, yeah. You know what? Let's go ahead real quick and have you make an intrigue roll to see if they bring back anything of interest and value to you. Because...
Oh
boy, that's critical. I said, what about Breakfast at Tiffany's? All right. Man, I gotta honor this. What could honor such a role? What could honor such a role? I think that what they bring back is news that Baron Wheel has extended himself outside of North Salisbury. He's starting to take manors that border Ambrosius's Dyke, like Melksham, Roundway, Horton, Allington, Stanton. Manors that, whether or not they belong to Salisbury, has kind of been in question for some time. He is occupying them by force. And has expanded way outside the Crockwood.
I relay this information to Kendric because I know that he has a vested interest here.
For your critical, I think you get word that his people have been seen scouting Imber and paying the local peasantry to build storehouses so that if they bring supplies through, they'll have a place to put them.
Interesting.
Now, Imber is very far south outside of his... Now, admittedly, it's a day's ride. But that is half a day outside of the territory he nominally claims.
I will also pass this information along.
And to whom are you passing it to?
Kendric.
Very well. Kendric, that information is for you to do with as you would.
I think Kendric is going to ask for a private audience with the Countess to pass this along.
Everybody with these private audiences.
Well, so I can't accuse Sir Hewell of treason in public.
Yes, you can. It would be so funny. How am I going to get the duels that I want?
So, actually, I don't think he'd do it at the feast. But
listen, you could spread rumors and force him. Look, I'm just shit starting. You could spread rumors and put him on the defensive, or you can have the private audience, or you could accuse him in public,
Well,
or
sorry,
you could go through like a 20-part deeply deceptive play where you turn his wife against him and you make Devi's castle seem like it's haunted. You pay some witches to do a prophecy about how he'll never fall until the woods move against him. This sort of deal. I'm just doing Macbeth at this point.
I'm happy to my bards are at your disposal, Kendric.
Thank you, Sir Kyned. I may have some use for them. But first, the Countess needs to be informed.
Very well.
It takes several hours for the Countess to pull herself away from partying and meeting with high dignitaries, meeting with messengers from both the Atheling, Esquine, and also, they are not calling themselves Atheling, they are calling themselves kings of the Gawesi in the south, meeting with the representation of Prince Kendric. Oh boy. Has sent a messenger to the feast as well, who must be wined and dined as well. Of course, such a high dignitary as the sobering Bishop Roger needs to be looked after safely by someone who will catch him before he does anything blasphemous. And after that time, she finds a moment to have a private conversation with you. I think she lets down her hair for one of the first times. She kind of slumps in a chair in the room and looks a little tired. Please don't tell me you've come in here to confess that I'm the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. It has been a day.
You are quite beautiful, my lady, but I do love my wife, and
Excellent.
She is also very pretty.
You do seem like a very loyal man, she says. Quick flashbacks to at least 3 separate dalliances we've caught on camera.
Yeah, Kendric definitely like internally winces. No, this is a business meeting. I don't know if you know this or not, but Sir Huel is expanding his influence north quite significantly. He has taken manors near the dike and is building storehouses in Ember.
I knew about the manors. The storehouses in Ember is new information to me. What do you think is happening? Is this treason?
It could be. That's what it looks like. Why else would he build storehouses on the interior of Salisbury?
Could be planning hunts around Ember. It's a popular location for hunts. It's a popular location for hunts, and that's about it. Unless you like liquors that will cause you early onset blindness.
Could I make like a battle roll to see how Sir Kendric, like to put Sir Kendric in Sir Huel's shoes and be like, how would he do it if he were in that position?
Yeah, make a battle roll.
Sure. Oh, nope. Failure.
This is like the story of how Space Marines have sergeants at the red helmet. Because the guy was like, hey, let me run some prep drills just in case we ever have to fight Space Marines. And the Ultramarines were like, bro, that's fucked up. Paint your helmet red in shame. 5 seconds later, Chaos Space Marines are like, hey, what's up? Anyway, so it's Fan 3, motherfuckers! Sorry, that's a Warhammer 40k. Deep reference. Yeah, I mean, to you, this all seems very strange. Like, it's not, I mean, look, this is you. It's not unusual to take manors by force, especially at this time. You'd love to have been in the position to do that, but it requires a large enough army to suppress the peasant population, which you don't have. You can't do what he's doing. And as the only one who can do that besides the Countess, he's using it to make himself very powerful. Is there treason here? You don't think so. That said, you're 19, you keep coming back to these weird storehouses at Ember. I mean, it's not a strategic location in any way. It has no bearing on an attack on Sarum, right? There's no castles nearby that it would be strategically relevant to. The only thing of value near Ember, now that old Gar is dead, is the woods. The Blakemore Woods extend way far west into Somerset, go beyond Stonehenge. He could be trying to settle new towns.
But where's he getting the people?
Where is he getting the people? That's a 19. That's what gets you.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's treason, my lady, but it definitely bears investigating.
Once my husband had a knight who would investigate such things for me, but he is long dead in a grave accident. Is there any knight among my court who you think might have skill at spying and intrigue? I myself once had Lady Harfin in my confidence. She was very skilled at playing the great game, but, you know, Gwgan stabbed her to death a couple weeks ago.
Strangled, please.
Strangled. The story got out of hand.
I heard he crushed her to death, but regardless. Well, I did. Was it Naroon that
Sir Naroon?
yeah, and Sir Naroon I recommended for the assassin knight position.
But only for the assassin side, not for the intrigue side.
To be an assassin is not the same thing as to be a sagacious and tactitious man.
Yes. Frankly, my lady, I don't know if any of your vassals have those skills. I do know that Sir Kyned has a jungler troop in his employ, that they may spend some time in that region and learn what they might learn.
Very well. I have spies of my own, but if you could send Sir Kyned to me when you leave here, I would speak with him on this matter. It saddens me his family is so often caught up in these intrigues, but it would seem he himself is attracted to them.
Is there anything else, my lady?
No. Thank you for bringing this to my attention.
Of course.
We get the high five of you and Kyned tagging in as he goes into the room.
The unequipped Pascal Jaden shows up on the scene.
So, Kyned, it is my understanding that we have you to thank for this burgeoning intelligence about Till's Head.
I wasn't sure what to make of it, milady, so I apologize if I misstepped and gave the information to Kendric first.
No, not at all. My court has need for an officer of rational intellect, intelligence, a swiftness of mind, and an alacrity of speech. I would have you set upon this path to learn more about what is happening in Ember as quietly as possible. will you do this, even though it may mean you come into conflict with one of my barons?
Kyned kneels and bows his head and says, "Milady, you stood with me in spite of my station. I've been a bastard a lot longer than I've been ennobled. I know how the world sees me even still. But you saw something in me and you stood by me, and for that, I am forever your man."
You are one of my knights. I'll be there for you till the rain starts to pour.
I wasn't sure we were going there, and like I've been there before, milady. Like I've been there before.
Such a position comes with few honors, and it is not chivalrous. But it is important. I understand your house has been through many troubles recently. All I can say is that this position can offer rewards for service not available to other knights.
Damn, this is completely rethinking how I was going to do my winter face.
Sheesh. Got him. Listen, players have a plan, and I have a fucking hammer that I'm smashing into your plan.
Okay, Grant.
Well, I'm really upset because James was like, I'm going to kill Harford at the last second, right before we're doing outros. And I was like, well, shit, I guess this is how it's going to be now, huh?
How's it going to be? Kyned bows further into his kneeling bow and says, "As my lady commands, and in the name of your son, I will see this thing done."
You nuts. Anything else people want to get done at the Yulemas, Wintertide, Christmas Fest extravaganza?
And it's literally a 50-50 because I have 10 in each.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual versus worldly to see how Kyned enjoys Christmas service with Gwgan.
I assume it would be Yule service for you, but sure.
Well, no, I told
you are
Gwgan that I
going to
would go
Christmas
to
service.
that I would go to Christmas service to yes,
as Sabaton would say, in the name of God,
and pray with him.
Sure, let's do it.
All
this
right.
role could get wild. This could be the role that gets so wildly out of hand. Could you imagine critically worldly?
Spiritual.
No, it's the opposite. He critical spiritual out of nowhere. It's a fucking RKO.
Here comes God with a steel chair.
All right. I believe if you critical traits, you get a 1 in the trait immediately, right?
Yeah.
It shifts.
So, yeah.
I'd be so curious, though, if it made you a more faithful pagan. And you were like, wow, I'd never really considered the wonderment of rituals. This is actually pretty cool. So anyway, let's go sacrifice something to a fire.
It was less of a Christmas celebration, more of a revival.
I guess I could roll worldly to see if the pagan
No,
side.
I don't like the concept to say that paganism is more worldly than Christianity.
Okay.
I feel like that's setting a weird standard.
I mean, my religion pagan is 2, so I don't believe that I'm happy to roll it.
Are you thinking of converting in this moment, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's what happens
Okay.
story-wise based on this. I will ask Gwgan, based on what has happened, is your personal ceremony British Christian or is it Roman Christian?
I am British Christian.
Well, I know you are, but I know that there's a schism happening, so I wasn't sure if you were going the other way. And if you were, given this, I think that Kyned is following you as opposed to the church. So wherever you are, that's where Kyned's going to meet you.
No, I've still got the same British church. I still have the same minister. So
you've
right.
set yourself to building a cathedral. There's no going back.
That's right.
That's a real lifetime commitment there.
It is.
Okay. As of this moment, then, Kyned is British Christian.
Well, you're going to want to consider putting some skill points into religious British Christian.
That's right.
And you're also going to need to change which personality traits mark your religious bonus.
Star player Gwgan. One conversion.
I was never going to get it either way, so...
Oh my god, what conversion? This is fantasy football stat. He's currently way above everybody else in the league. Is the only one to ever have a conversion.
Yeah, no,
they did it check in The Sims, didn't they? They had, like, Millhouse had all the Saints like trading cards. He's like, oh, I've got the Isaiah rookie card. Yeah, 160 conversions in
lustful,
318
vengeful, and cruel are. There's no way that he's ever going to get a religious bonus.
Oh, you could still get a religious bonus. It might just be a Satanist bonus rather than... I believe Mordred's character sheet has the satanic virtues, if you want to call them that.
I mean, that's not in the player's handbook, so...
No, it's not. It's not a story a Christian would tell you.
I mean, if that bonus is available, let's talk after the session.
You'd need to reconvert to Satanism. Here's my question. What is it that causes this faith? I know we have a 10 here, but what part of the Christmas service attracts you? I assume, well, yes, I'm making an assumption that you've been to at least one Christian Christmas service at some point in your life. Yeah. I feel like that's not crazy for an American. At the very least, your school must have done some sort of play if you had public schooling.
I think that, as I've said a few times, like Kyned has never been very religious. Like he held to the old faith because his family held to the old faith. I think it's the message of doing justice for your fellow man and feeling as indebted as he is to Gwgan, that that peace can be worked through your fellow man, and that for the first time since taking over the house, like, he feels like he has breathing room and believes that this is the work of God, and through Gwgan, and That's what convinces him. And
I want to say Bishop Roger is leading the service himself. He's about a quarter drunk. And it's not that you're bored, but you don't have the faith inside you. The Holy Ghost has not moved your spirit. And then he goes, it is as Saint Keanu has said. I look at all of you and I say, be excellent to each other. In these times, these glad tidings, be excellent to each other. Blah! I got him. I got Smooth with vomiting. It was a service to remember. That's it. That's going to be the end of this particular episode. Let's do those introductions.
I want to say one last thing that I do before I go back to my home for Christmas as well.
I'm so worried, but go ahead.
I mean,
you find Bishop Roger, you give him a hug, and you crush him too.
Those of you who have wives know when you bring something home and your wife sort of looks at you like, I can't believe you brought that home. Like with me, it's usually more Warhammer, for example. I just want to set the tone that.
Oh wait, are you saying a lady's favorite is the same thing as a warhound?
No, because it's worse. So what Gwgan has commissioned while he's in Salisbury and then brings home to hang in his home is a portrait of Ellen to hang in a prominent spot. So
we see your wife, but only from behind, staring at the portrait. We never see her face.
That's right, because that's good. Because that gives me a tick every year and a more Ellen.
You're gonna get a tick in the ass from your wife. Oh man.
We're a good Christian couple. We don't love have something to do with it.
Oh yeah, of course. As the great poet wrote, "What does love got to do with it?"
Got to do with it.
Yeah, of course. Which is why he had like a 13-year-old girl sing that for him, which really tells me exactly what love had to do with that particular one. Let me look at my Google calendar. According to this, on the 23rd, are we good next week?
So
far.
Hold on a sec. Oh shit! I should be right. Let me talk to my wife because
we've got her out of character.
Don't
worry. I know I'm not funny, James. Just keep going.
Got a kid's soccer game on. I want to make sure that she can take them there, and I can stay here and stream.
We may be back next week, audience, or maybe we won't be. But if we are, we're gonna be killing some horses, or maybe we won't. It'll be the winner phase. Get your spreadsheets.
The spreadsheet.
Yeah, get your abacus out. Get your calculator. Your little note taking, whether you use pen or pencil. I assume you get your poker visor out. I don't know what you people do to entertain yourself during winter phase, but you better be ready. Glimo, I turn to you for introductions.
Hey, I'm Glimo. So I was crazy today and went and bought half a cow. So
half a cow?
Well, I mean half a cow's worth of leather.
Wow.
So I'm probably going to be doing some leatherworking streams. Join my Discord. Hit me up in AP's Discord for an invite if you're not already there. Twitch.tv/Glimo. I've got some ideas and we'll see how they all turn out because I haven't done leatherworking in 20 years, so I'm going to be stupid rusty for a while.
Last time I did leatherworking, I nearly cut my finger off. All the way to the bone.
Wow, that takes a lot of effort in leatherworking.
Done leatherworking since I was in Scouts.
Wow, Boy Scouts. I haven't thought about that in a while.
All I got.
Very well. Friends, it isn't a show about existential horror. And I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to work Cthulhu into it, but I'm really working on figuring some way to have like a quick offshoot of this show that'll just maybe like when Halloween rolls around, we'll do like a one-shot Cthulhu episode that'll end with like, and this is non-canon.
Talk to Eric Vulgaris about that.
Just
Has he done that?
He and not even it's canon in his campaign. It was good. It was a good arc.
Just make sure to record it this time.
What's the
Unlike our last Halloween episode.
Wow. All right. Glimo throwing fucking shade at me. Jesus. It's better that one wasn't recorded. Let's be clear, man. I was like, you know what? I hate the Chinese. I was playing the bad guy, okay?
Maybe it was more fun playing it than it would have been watching it, but you know.
It would not have been fun to watch. I was playing a bad guy, and he wasn't even that good at it. And we really fucked things up. And you know, when I said I hated the Chinese, I did it in the same way Grant O'Brien says, you know what, I hate the crew on Dropout. It's like, you know what I hate? The crew. That's it. We'll see you guys next week. Or we won't. Or we will. It's possible. Anything is possible when you have the power of Christ.